Hi, welcome to Fun with the Science Club, where we highlight local scientists and the work which they are doing in the community. Today in the club we have Miss Carla Daniels, who is a biologist.
You could say that, yeah.
Working with the Barbados Sea Turtle Project. Right. So the first question I have to ask, what exactly is the Barbados Sea Turtle Project?
Now, sea turtles, while they spend most of their time in the sea, they do come to shore to lay eggs. And because of that, and because of lots of issues that they've been facing, the Barbados Sea Turtle Project was formed in 1987. Now, I know that seems like a long time ago, but it really got kind of organized and the structure got made more formal in 1992. The Sea Turtle Project is currently based at the University of the West Indies. It's a research and conservation organization. So not only are we trying to save sea turtles, but we're also trying to find out as much information about them as possible. Why is research important? Research is important because we can use that data to inform government decisions. So for example, if we knew how many turtles nested on a particular beach, then we would know whether that beach was really important to the sea turtle population and whether it would be a good idea for somebody to come and dig it up, build a hotel, or make some kind of resort or something like that. So we do all kinds of research related to lighting, related to temperature, related to female nesting behavior, where turtles prefer to nest, etc. And we also have our conservation area. Now this is very important as the turtle that we primarily deal with, which is the hawksbill turtle, is considered critically endangered. What that means is that historical numbers of turtles were quite high, but for various reasons the population has declined dramatically to the point where extinction is a real possibility. So we have one of the most important sea turtle populations this side of the planet, and they need to be protected. Up until 1998, it was perfectly legal for you to go to the closest fish market and see a turtle on its back waiting to be butchered. So it was legal for fishermen to go out there, haul in turtles, take them to the fish market and butcher them. People would also say things like, different parts of the turtle taste different. So they would say that one part would taste like beef and another part might taste like chicken or something like that. So this was a common sight around the island. So this was made illegal in 1998. So right now we cannot harvest turtles. This includes adults, but it also includes eggs as well. And of course hatchlings. So it's been made illegal, but we needed to do something to mitigate the threats that the turtles were experiencing, something to help protect them, to help increase their numbers. So the Turtle Project has a 24-hour hotline. And I know lots of you may be used to staying up late, maybe going out partying, coming in at 2, 3 in the morning. It does not matter what time you call, whether it is 5 a.m. or whether it is 10 p.m. It is not important. We have a 24-hour hotline. That number is 230-0142, and we ask that persons call anytime they see turtle activities at all. So it could be baby turtles going in the wrong direction or even going in the right direction. It could be adults coming onto the beach to lay their eggs. It could be exposed eggs, or even if you don't see turtles at all, but you simply see the tracks on the beach. We ask persons to call. We also have a volunteer program that operates during the nesting season for the hawksbill turtle. And we accept local volunteers, but we also have international volunteers. So people will leave wherever they are and come to Barbados for a few months to work with us to help save sea turtles. Now this year we've had volunteers from all over the world. We've had volunteers from Nigeria, from Portugal, from Argentina, from the States, from England, from the Netherlands, from Spain. So we get volunteers from a really wide cross-section of the world. And then of course we've had local volunteers. So we have volunteers that are persons who really just want to help. We have university students as well, but everybody kind of bands together to work during the nesting season to patrol the nesting beaches. These are primarily on the west coast and the south coast, as well as to respond to hotline calls. So I know it seems kind of long, and we do a lot, but that in essence is what the Barbados Sea Turtle Project is.
Yes, that's a very broad overview of what the Barbados Sea Turtle Project is, and some of those facts I didn't even know as well. About the whole banning of sea turtle in 1998.
1998 is quite recent, but when you put it in the context of the region, there are still islands where it is illegal to harvest sea turtles during a certain period of the year. So while it seems recent, and I mean, even if you compare with St. Vincent recently put their ban in place, and that is as recent as January 2017.
Okay.
And then in Grenada, it's still legal to harvest turtles, as well as some of the other islands. So I think 1998 was a pretty good job, and it was a fantastic idea.
Yes.
So we're really pushing to get the entire region to kind of come on board with the complete ban on the harvest of sea turtles. It's a big deal because sea turtles are migratory. So we don't own our sea turtles, and we're able to protect them in Barbados, and they stay here and they grow and they do well. What happens is that the turtles that nest on our beaches live elsewhere. So they're migrating back to Barbados to nest. When they finish nesting and they leave to go back, they have to pass through the waters of other islands. And in those waters, they may not be protected. So it's quite possible that a turtle will come to Barbados, be protected while it's here for the 2 to 3 months to nest. However, when it leaves, it could be caught in a fishing net or caught on a fishing line and cooked in somebody's pot.
I've seen the Facebook page Barbados Sea Turtle Project, and that's what led me to interviewing you. And I want to know, what is your role with the Sea Turtle Project?
Okay, so while it sounds quite grand, I'm going to give this disclaimer in the beginning. My title is Director of Public Awareness and Education. However, the project is a very small unit. There are about 3 of us. So it's not as though I stick to public awareness and education. So I manage our social media page. We have the Facebook page that would have been mentioned, but we also have an Instagram page as well. I get to do fun stuff like this, interview and visiting your science club. I also do workshops, so I will visit schools, summer camps, sometimes business places as well. I do educational walks on the boardwalk. I lead our hatchling release program. I'm involved in a lot of research as well. So we're currently doing a project looking at the temperature of our nesting beaches. So we buried 100 little plastic temperature data loggers on the beaches, and they've been recording temperature every single hour since last year, June. So right now we're in the process of retrieving that. And I know it probably sounds pretty boring, temperature, who cares, sand, whatever. But the cool thing about turtles, and this is one of the really interesting facts, when a turtle lays a set of eggs, the sex of the hatchling is not determined. So what that means is that every egg is basically a blank slate. It could be anything. So the eggs are going to be in the sand for 60 days. Seems pretty short when you compare it to humans, but really that's pretty long. So they're in the sand for 60 days, and around the third of incubation, so around day 20 to day 40, the temperature of the sand determines what sex the hatchlings will be. So if it's middle of summer and it's boiling hot, then you're more likely to get females. So it's quite possible, if the sand is warm enough, that every single hatchling will be a girl. Now, if it's later down in the year and closer to Christmas, so around December and so on, January, and it's much, much cooler, then you get boys. So you're likely to get a full clutch of male hatchlings. And if the temperature is kind of in between, then you can get a mix of males and females. Now, what people believe, and everybody's been talking about global warming, it's one of the key topics recently. Global temperatures have been increasing, and what this means is that it's quite possible that the average incubation temperature on our beaches has surpassed the female threshold. So we could be producing 100% females, and we might have been for a number of years, and we don't know. So somebody's probably saying, well, why you can't check up the turtle hatchlings and look underneath and see whether it's a girl or a boy and tell that way? No, there are no external features that can distinguish a male from a female. even when the turtles get pretty big, like when they're almost adults, you still cannot tell. So for the hatchling, it is completely impossible. There's nothing, there are no different colors, there's no little bump underneath, the shell isn't like curved, there's absolutely no way to tell. And the other thing is that because it is determined by temperature, they do not have sex chromosomes. So you know, you would hear about the XY chromosome and the XX chromosome for females and males for humans. Turtles do not have that. So there's no way that you can take a blood sample and test it and determine what sex the turtle is. So what we have to do is that we have to take the temperature of the sand and compare this to old data from way back in the day, and then we can kind of get an idea of whether our nests are still mixed or whether we're getting all females. And why is this important? Can you imagine what would happen if the numbers of females in the population started to increase and increase? Now, eventually you would get a population surge, which is a good thing because males will mate with anything at all. And I didn't tell you anything. The female could be completely pot right down. Male turtles do not care. They grab any you out there scuba diving and turtles see you and you look a certain way, you get grabbed. So at some point, you're going to get an increase in hatchlings because there will be more females. So the males will just be mating like crazy. However, those males will eventually get old and they might die. And then you're going to get a decrease in the males in the population. So then you're going to get to the stage where you have so many females that some of them can't even find a male to be mated with. So they're not going to be reproducing. So you're going to get the population beginning to decrease. Not only that, but while the temperature is important for sex, there's another reason why it's important. Now, Nigel, have you ever eaten a boiled egg?
Yes.
Yes. Have you ever had a scrambled egg, like you put it in the frying pan? How do you cook an egg?
You put it in water and heat it up.
Okay,
if you
but
want boiled egg.
Exactly. So the water does not cook the egg. What cooks the egg?
The heat.
The heat cooks the egg. So, can you imagine, of course, it's getting hot, we're getting more females, but then it continues to get hot. Eventually, what we're going to have is cooked eggs.
Oh,
Yes, so the next stage after that is that if the incubation temperature is too warm, we're going to have reduced hatching success. So fewer and fewer eggs are going to successfully hatch because the embryos are not going to survive. And that is an even bigger problem than having lots and lots of females.
You've mentioned the temperature of the sand being important in determining the sex of the turtle. Yeah. What is the common breeding season for sea turtles?
So very quickly, there are 3 species of turtles that you can see on or around Barbados. You have the green turtles. These don't nest on our beaches, but you can see these offshore. If you go on a catamaran cruise and they do a turtle stop, it will be green turtles you're seeing. If you're walking on the beach or just liming and you see turtles sticking their heads up to breathe in the nearshore area, that's likely to be green turtles as well. They feed on green algae and seagrass, which grows in shallow water close to shore, which is why they're easy to see. Now, you're not likely to see a green turtle on our beach nesting. The other species is the leatherback. This is the world's largest species of turtle. They can weigh over a ton and be over 6 feet in length. We do have these nesting, but they nest primarily on the eastern side of the island. One of the reasons is because they're so huge and so heavy that they need the rough waves from the east coast to help push them onto the beach. Now for leatherbacks, their nesting season kind of runs from around March till July. Now finally we have the hawksbill. This is the most common turtle we have, and hawksbills nest on most of our beaches, primarily on the west and the south coast. However, we do have them nesting up north, like by the old North Point Hotel in that area, also along the east coast as well. Hawksbills nest from the 1st of June to the 15th of November. That's what the official nesting season is, but we do get nesting all year round. So you can have hawksbills laying in January and February as well. But the peak time of laying is, I would say, June and July within the nesting season. And then for hatching, it's usually around August, September. That's when you see the majority of the hatchlings. But you can see a hawksbill turtle nesting almost any time of the year.
What threats do turtles face?
Let's start with adult turtles. So there are a number of threats to adult turtles when they're in the water. One of the common threats, you have bycatch. Bycatch is when persons are fishing for one particular type of fish. So let's say they're fishing for shrimp, but they accidentally catch other things as well, things that they don't want or they don't need to catch, but because of maybe the fishing gear they're using or the type of nets, they accidentally catch other things. Now, sea turtles cannot breathe underwater. Yes, they live in the sea, but they're reptiles and they need to surface to breathe. Anything that prevents them from surfacing to breathe will cause them to drown. So sea turtles can get entangled in fishing nets and drown. They can get entangled in fishing line. Even buoy lines can entangle sea turtles as well. They also take fishing hooks, so they can get caught on fish hooks. Those fish hooks, sometimes people cut the line, and then you have the turtle who swallowed the hook, and there's a long piece of nylon trailing behind it. That nylon wraps around a piece of coral, for example, and the turtle drowns. We had an incident where that happened in Carla Bay not too long ago, a few weeks ago. The young turtle took a hook, end of the nylon wrapped around a piece of coral, and the turtle was unable to surface to breathe. Another issue that turtles face is boat strikes. Today is on Tuesday, which is a few days ago, we had a turtle that died as a result of a boat strike. We've had multiple turtles killed by boat strikes so far this year. So because they need to surface to breathe, they come to the top of the water, and then any boat that is traveling at a great speed, so it could be any kind of boat, it could be a speedboat, regular sailing boat, catamaran, large ships, any kind of watercraft that is traveling quite quickly can hit a turtle. Now, the lungs of a turtle are found directly under the shell. So if the blow is hard enough, any significant damage to the shell usually means damage to the lungs as well. And the turtle usually dies. Now, again, there's poaching. Turtles are still caught for food, so people still harvest them. That's another threat. With hawksbill turtles, people would take the shell of the hawksbill turtle and use it to make items. So they'd make bracelets. If you ever go into any kind of shop that sells either glasses or shades, you'd see that there's a really nice frame that's like dark brown and it has like light amber specks. So it's like amber and brown kind of speckly. That is a pattern after the hawksbill sea turtle shell. And at one point, that was so valuable that it was as valuable as ivory is today. So people would take nesting females off the beach by the truckload to kill them simply to get the plates off their shell. In Japan, it was a custom that they would give gifts of, we call it beko, of turtle shell items, little trinkets, boxes, and so on when people were retiring. So there was a great demand for these turtles, and that's one of the reasons why the hawksbill population plummeted in the first place. So that's turtles in the water. Then you have things like plastic. We had a green turtle die this year, and this was found floating in the region of the careenage. When the stomach of the turtle was cut open, we found rubber bands inside, pieces of plastic bag. We found here,
all the Remy?
Yeah, well, I can't say whether it was Remy or not, but we found here in the turtle's stomach as well. So garbage in the water is another problem. We had a turtle that died one time for swallowing a bottle cap. So the bottle cap blocked the throat and it was unable to eat, etc., and it died. So plastic is another problem as well. Now for turtles when they get onto the beach now, what are the problems when they get onto the beach? So turtles come onto the beach to nest. Right now we have a significant issue on our south coast with dogs killing turtles. We've had 8 attacks so far this year already, and the turtles are coming up to nest, and it's a pack of 3 dogs that is attacking them. Out of those 8 attacks, 2 have been fatal. The others only survived, we think, because persons saw and intervened and chased the dogs away. But the dogs would have taken huge chunks of flesh from in the shoulder here, trying to get at the neck. So the turtle kind of pushes the flippers up and they rake and pull and dig at the flippers. So dogs are another problem for adult nesting turtles. Another issue is infrastructure. We had a turtle that was impaled on a piece of rebar on the beach when it was trying to nest a couple years ago. There are other beaches similar to this one where the sand comes right onto the road and the turtles get into the road. We've already had an instance where a turtle was run over by a vehicle. This year, in previous years, we've lost over 5 nesting females to vehicular accidents. So that's another issue. When turtles are on the beach, you can also have situations where they get off the beach. We had one get into a construction site and become dehydrated. So the sun was just beating down. She was there and she died as a result of that. In another instance, the turtle fell into a hole on a construction site. There was a little bit of water at the bottom. She tried to get out, but flipped over on her back and her head was down in the water and she drowned on the beach as well. So there are a number of issues that affect adult turtles.
Look forward to more fun interviews from Fun with the Science Club coming shortly.